Good evening. You will never know your limits until you push yourself to them. And this is another episode of Secret Society of Veterans. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're listening from, wherever you have your podcast, whatever time you're listening. This is Secret Society of Veterans, and I'm your host, Anthony Rivera, off the USS Carl Vinson, Navy veteran, CVN 70. Gulf War veteran also. How you guys doing out there in the world? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are having good weeks, good afternoons, good mornings. Today is a good day. We're moving forward in our processes. Secret Society of Veterans, now the group on Facebook, has 700 members, which is a good accomplishment. We have a lot of great interaction, good people over there. We're just getting started and revving our engines and doing what we need to do. Today I'd like to give thanks to all you guys that have been listening, have been a long supporter of us. I'd like to say thank you to all the veterans that are out there that have sacrificed their lives for the right causes. I'd like to say thank you to those helping veterans and those are putting forth the effort for veterans. I'd like to thank everybody. I've been watching a little bit of the news. You know, I don't like to get into politics or the news and things like that for reasons of I don't want to offend nobody and do things like that. But news is a place where I guess you go to hear about some negative things in the world. And I kind of not want to bring that to the forefront with all these things that are going on. So I stay away from the news, even though it's information out there. I've been on my own journey, my own way of doing things. I've been pushing forward, been trying to get off this sickness and trying to get back into my frame of mind of work. I had a couple of questions for you guys out there in the community. When was the last time you guys have done a get-together, a reunion for your squad, your platoon, your group, your division? When was that last time, and did it go as planned? Is everybody that you served with 20 years ago looking, acting, or are they the same? I don't know. I always keep in contact with social media with all my combat buddies and women. And we all go through our issues and we all go through our problems. But being there for one another is the main focus. Today I have a special guest coming out of Texas. Served with me on the USS Carl Vinson in a different division. Great guy, very inspirational, very smart, doing great things for the community, doing great things for himself. His story is just super amazing. I'm going to have him on as my guest, and he might be on a little bit more than just my guest. He might be on a regular basis with us, depending on how he feels. I'm going to let him introduce himself when he comes on, and I'm going to let him talk to you and let you know what his processes are and what he's doing and what he's giving back. Great guy. Also today, I want to talk about certain things like, physical fitness and maybe getting back into a shape that you were when you were in the service. Do you ever go back to that shape? or is it more of a struggle, more time consuming, or more pain in the butt for you to get back to that space? For all this being said, we're going to cut off into a commercial and come back with our special guest. This is Secret Society of Veterans. How you guys doing today? This is Veterans, and we're here today with Reza Masomi, straight off the USS Carl Vinson. How you doing, Reza?
How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm here, wanted to catch up and touch base with you on a small little interview with Secret Society of Veterans. How you been? How's everything going over there?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm here in San Antonio, Texas. The time is about 8 p.m. here in Central Time. Can you?
Oh, yeah,
well?
I can hear you very well. You're good.
Okay, is the music in the background not too loud for you guys?
Not that I can hear. It's actually soothing.
Awesome. Perfect. How's your day going, man? I'm blessed to be able to talk to you guys and to be able to share some of my thoughts with the veterans.
I'm doing well here. I just been a little sick, like I've posted all the time. But I'm doing pretty good. Going back to work tomorrow since I work for the Department of Veterans Affairs. But I'm doing well, I'm not doing too bad.
Yeah, man. Good. I hope you get well soon, man.
So
let's get started, man.
Let's tell the world. Let's start off by saying, where do we serve? We serve together in the Navy.
Yes, sir. USS Carl Vinson.
What years were you there? The same years as me, but.
Yeah, I mean, I know I entered into the U.S. Navy at the age of 18. I had just turned 18. July 3rd, 1982 was my birthday. So in 2000, I had just turned 18 years of age. And so about 2001 was when close to 2001, it was still ended in 2000 when I entered on the USS Carl Vinson. So I served basically from 2000 to 2004.
Okay, so you were at the the beginning process of September 11th.
Oh yes, as soon as I got there, we were on our way to start our squadron reps and getting our flight qualifications. And when I got to the ship, we were actually heading to San Diego to start all that qualification going before our first WestPac, which happened to unfortunately lead into 9/11 and us going into our first line of combat.
Okay, so you have probably a very good story behind everything. I wanted to ask you, when did you enlist at? Like, where was your home of record when you enlisted?
Well, I'm originally from San Antonio, Texas, and I entered into the Navy from San Antonio, Texas here in 2000. I went to Robert Lee High School here in San Antonio, and I was an athlete, but since I didn't receive a college scholarship, I decided to enter the military and kind of figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And now my background was kind of it was affected by my parents. My dad was an Air Force pilot for the Iranian regime of Shah before the 1979 regime.
I was looking at some of the stories that you had on the War Within.
Yes, sir. And my father being when 1979 hit and the revolution happened in Iran. The old regime is that basically any military or anybody that was affiliated with the old regime was basically forced to come out of the military or retire. My dad decided to become more of a revolutionist, and we had some trouble with him wanting to voice his opinion about the new regime. So we basically had to leave the country and basically left Iran, and he left Iran first and came to the United States. unfortunately, my dad had passed away in a plane accident, and my mom and my sister and I decided to carry on. We got here not knowing any one word of English, actually.
Wow.
But with God's blessing and perseverance, just kept pushing forward, and from then on, I was basically the man of the family. Not to say that I was able to do anything, but I had it in my mind to be able to do something finally, and when I grow up, to be able to help my family out and to be supportive as the only man left. So I entered in the Navy.
Why did you pick the Navy? Because you wanted to become a pilot?
Well, I wanted to become a pilot, but because of what happened to my father, I didn't want to put my mom through that kind of drama.
Okay.
And I entered the Navy because it was the closest thing to being into airplanes, and I also picked a job as ABH. I asked the recruiter, I was like, what is going to make sure that I just wanted to be the closest thing I could do to be a fighter jet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And because I couldn't be a fighter, I didn't want to put my mom through that torment. I could have easily been a fighter jet pilot. But I decided not to do that because I didn't want her to have that trauma while I'm in the air. So I was like, I will go into the military, but I want to be around airplanes. So my recruiter was like, you could be an ABH. Not as the best job to pick going to the into the Navy afterwards thinking about it. But honestly, I'm going to be honest about it. But it was still, it is what it is. That was my destiny. And I was able to land on USS Carl Vinson, and that was the job that got me to USS Carl Vinson. So I don't regret.
How did you?
If I wouldn't have picked that job, maybe I would.
Right.
Run that.
How did you get through? How did you get through your time in the service with all the, the stuff that you went through when in your childhood, and being able to support your mom and your family and being the man of the house?
Man, to be honest with you, it was being forced out of your own country, and being at my age, I was 82. You're talking about 3 years after the revolution when I was born. So our country was already upside down, and I'm being born into a world where my dad and my parents had power and had money, to a world that now that they're being treated like shit, excuse my language, and they're being treated in such a like hostile environment as I'm a kid. So I remember my dad going into prison, constantly being thrown in prison when I was a kid in Iran.
Right.
And he was sentenced. Actually, I didn't say that earlier, but they had sentenced them to death, to be killed. And my mom was blindfolded, was taken to court in front of the judge, and my mom basically told him, if money, that's what y'all want, is if y'all want us to give you money, you have to let my husband out so he can make an income, so he could pay you guys, if that's what you guys, the reason why you have him in. There's no other reason why you have him in. So they let him out, and we were paying the government almost $10,000 a month, something like that.
Wow.
I don't know. I was a kid. And it just got too much. My dad was never home. He was working 2 jobs, and I was never seeing my dad in and out of prison when he was a kid because of that. And not because he was even a bad man, because he was standing up for his own country. Some people could say, my dad was, it's so hard to know that your dad's not there. And not only that, is he's going through hardship himself, and he's trying to fight for you and for your freedom.
Wow.
So when he passes away and you come to a country that gives you nothing but freedom, I had nothing but appreciation for the United States. I had nothing but appreciation for America. When I stepped into this land, I was greeted by freedom. Nobody, was telling me what to do. So I was able to make my choices, and I wanted to not only give back to the country who gave me freedom, which is the United States of America, also, honestly, I had a payback in my heart. I wanted to get back at who did this to my dad, who ran us out. I know my dad died in a plane accident, but, at the end of the day, if that situation never happened, if we were never forced out of our country, maybe that would have never happened. Who knows? But that's what a stroke inside of me, to give back to the United States and also get back at them, whatever it could be. As a young age, you're looking for something to motivate you. I was 18 years old, so that's how I looked at it. But, and I went in, and that's what pushed me, and if I wasn't treated fairly in the military. I can't say I was treated fairly. It was at the beginning of the war. Middle East was fighting the United States. I was a Persian American. I'm not going to name nobody right now because that's not that's not respecting the military and what the military stands
Right.
about. But I'm gonna let you know there was people in there that, you know, that were toxic, that shouldn't have been there, that should not have been the leader. So, you know, with that said, I held my mouth shut while I was in there, but the trauma that I felt there, and that trauma in the war, and trauma that I felt as a Persian American, you know, it was tough.
Right. It was a lot of pressure.
But I ended
A lot
up,
of pressure and a lot of
it was a lot of pressure, and that's what it pushed me to become Sailor of the Year, you know,
Right.
and I didn't do it to become better than anybody. I did it just to show that, hey, this man that y'all are, you know, putting down as a Persian American, he's equal, just like you. He could bring the military to this level. He could help the military to this level,
Right.
and he could do this.
And you received the accommodations just like any other sailor or soldier that was out there on the field, being in the position that you were put in. All the accommodations and medals and awards you received also. So that had to justify.
Well, to be honest, yeah, I received the Sailor of the Year, but I'm going to be honest with you. Every Sailor of the Year on our ship was capped for becoming Sailor of the Year. Like that means that they were automatically given a rank.
Okay.
And the next rank. So if you were an E3 and you be right then, the captain will give you an E4, for example. If you were E4 and you become a sailor, the captain usually pins you with an E5 right then, if you know what I'm talking about. Okay? But I was an E3 Sailor of the Year, and I was not.
Oh, okay. I understand now what you're saying. Right.
I was an air warfare and a surface warfare.
Still didn't get capped to the next rank.
As an E3. And this has nothing to do with the military. This has to do with that one toxic person.
How were you able to handle that when you
With that said, we're gonna go back to what we were talking about. We're here. We're talking about mentality. You know, I'm not gonna
right.
all my brothers and sisters. So you know, that on top of everything else. You know, feeling separate.
Right. So now you're isolated. It feels like, again.
What is more.
So let me ask you a question. Do you remember the day that your service ended when you were done? Like, what was that feeling like?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. My Divo, who was a new Divo. I'm gonna be honest with you. He has seen the whole situation, and he was being bullied by this guy that I'm talking about. Also. Okay. My Divo turned around and told me that, Reza, you don't belong here.
Okay.
He said, I'm glad that you left the military, that you don't belong
Wow. Here. So what was that feeling like?
And that's not, and you know, it's good and bad. I'm going to be honest with you, because I wouldn't take back serving the country that gave me freedom, because it goes back to, you know, for the country. You know, I'm not going to lose that patriotism. My dad, you know, Iranian pilots and all them, they got their licenses. They got their license here in San Antonio, Lackland Air Force Base.
Okay.
They're in the regime of Shah. You know, and that's the reason why we moved here. And then when we moved here and this country gave us our freedom, I was already going to get back, you know. And I also, my mom was my dependent from age of 18 to 22. I bought my mom a house. I paid for her house.
Nice.
You know, and while I was in there, and I came out, got my bachelor's degree with my GI Bill, walked on at the university in Conner Word in San Antonio, played college basketball, and now I'm using my Hazelwood Act to finish my master's and finish my doctorate.
Nice.
So, you know, I don't let one apple ruin it, but I'm gonna let you know that did affect a lot, you know, when it comes to my mental stability of who to trust and not to trust when you come back out, because the topic is still the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? Not like, I don't want to make it about the Middle East in America. I hate keep bringing up that I'm Middle Eastern and Persian and American. You know, but right now these days, the conflict between Iran and the United States, I get here in Texas, you know, people that don't even know I'm a veteran and they know now what Middle Easterns look like. I mean, it's still tough, you know, but it is what it is. The world is changing. I know my place in the earth. I know what I'm supposed to do. and I'll do my best to stay stable, humble, and make changes with my
Right.
actions.
So, I know we spoke recently, and we had had a little chat about, keeping focus.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. So,
All right.
we were talking about focusing, and when you got out, what did you
Yeah.
do? What did you do when you got out? And we were talking about yoga and focusing before. What did you do
Right.
in those aspects when you got out of the
So
service?
when I came out, we all had that. One thing that I noticed that in the military we had one point of focus. We knew what we had to do, and we all moved towards that direction. If we did not agree to something, and but we still knew what the was. Yeah, so I noticed that separation, and that brought a lot of anxiety, and that brought a lot of social anxiety and panic. That it was more of a feel of detachment from society. That not everybody was working towards the same goal.
Okay.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So I started going into spirituality and yoga and self-consciousness of understanding, who we really are. Believe it or not, I really believe that every single veteran, every single person that served has a bright future ahead of them just because the training that they got. Now I understand that we have mental blockage right now with society. We come out and we don't feel attached, and that's what it brought depression for me, and that was what brought panic attacks and detachment. But I noticed that I am very efficient when I want to be, but I could be very inefficient when I don't want to be, is when that depression hits or that panic attack hits.
Right.
So I told myself, is like, what if I could fix this? What if I could fix my anxiety? What if I could fix all this and keep the same discipline that the military gave me? What kind of citizen I could be? I could multitask so well, and I could be so ahead of the competition. If I could get these little burdens off of me, this weight that is on me, the anxiety, the panic attacks, whatever the symptoms that I'm saying. So I noticed that I was this machine already because of the military, but I noticed that if I could get this off of me, I could be this efficient machine in the civilian world, and I noticed the world was turning into an entrepreneur economy. You know what I'm saying? Everybody
Right.
working for themselves, and what better for military personnel who is already self-sufficient to become an entrepreneur?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I could get the hints of entrepreneurship at the beginning, but I wasn't able to finish it off. So I would dive into like businesses, and I would be hot at first, and I would take off going, and I would be great at it, and it would be like that sailor of the year mentality. But then I'll feel the disconnection between my team, because at the end of the day, everybody's working for themselves in the civilian world. We don't have the morning call, right, and the night call, and the daily routine that everybody got on the ship. You know what I'm saying? So everybody goes at their own way, and that's when the panic attacks, anxiety attacks, the detachment would hit. So I started noticing that because I was going to school for psychology and kinesiology, and not only I was learning about the body and the mind, I was meditating, I started fasting, listening to my body, listening to what food was reacting in a certain way, listening to, paying attention to what music was reacting in a certain way in my body, paying attention to what atmosphere was reacting. And I'm not going to tell you it was easy, man. It's been hell. It was hard. It's been hard. Is actually eliminating a lot of friends out of my life that, what happens, I think, is like we have some friends before the military, and we come back and we think those friends are supposed to be the same friends, and we try to keep attached to them. And you moved on, man. We all moved on. We gotta really trust in that. Military taught us a lot of discipline and mental discipline, and a lot of skills that the civilians don't have. You cannot come back out and deal with the same circle.
Because everybody's
You
doing
know,
something different
you
now.
have, yeah, and you have to get out of the circle. And you know, and I think going back to that, and you know, those friends not seeing you the same way gives you anxiety. You feel like why they feel detached, they might not call you as much, or you know, you might not get called upon to
Right.
hang out as much. I don't know.
Right.
That's what I feel like.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So, uh, so I felt like, you know, my old friends couldn't understand me. They even told me years later, like, you came back like military. They told me that you came back very military and you're different. You were already disciplined, but you were like disciplined 10 times more. We didn't know how to connect with you. You know, they were like, you were taking everything to the next level with everything. They were like, you know, and I was like, I was already a perfectionist and I became 10 times more of a perfectionist when I came out of the military. You know, you got to understand, you know, not only I was trying to prove that a Persian American could make it in this country, I had people who doubted me in the city of San Antonio who I couldn't play college ball, who I walked on as a college player. Then I ended up playing in Europe. You know, it's all about that. For me, it's been proving people wrong, plus the PTSD, plus the anxiety. And, you know, it just finally, I was like, if I don't get my mind right, if I don't go into yoga or spirituality, like, you know, I started going to seizures because of the stress I was putting on myself. You know, and I had to turn into like full out fasting, eating right, meditating, oneness, consciousness, which I would like to elaborate more in the future, you know, if we get a chance to talk about, and, you know, bring our veteran community into it. That, you know, I think consciousness is, as they will call it, is what is hot right now, but I wouldn't call it hot. I think that's the vibration of the world. I think more people are talking about consciousness and oneness is because the vibration has changed and is telling us to do so. You know, back in the day, we did not have a certain group of people talk about consciousness and vibration. Now you have majority of people everywhere you meet talk about consciousness and spirituality.
I think back in the days when I was younger, the consciousnus and the vibration speech was mainly focused on Shaolin monks and people that are out in a world that isn't civilized like us. And
well, yes, and I also was not looked at the right way because of a certain words that were created in the public. They had I remember growing up, people used to tell me Scientology is evil. They would tell me spirituality is, you should only believe in God. You know, the word God. It was like, I was like, who's this person? You know, like, you know, I'm being honest with, like, who's, like, what is the symbol? Like, because I was born in Iran. If you got to understand my point of view. You know, I was raised in a country that is not all Muslims, and people think it's all Muslims. And Muslims are not just Muslims. Islam has two sides: the Shia Muslims, you know, and there's other Muslims. Okay, and you got every religion has extremists. You know, you have extremist Christian, you have extremist Catholics, you have extremist Jewish. You have everything has a light and it has a dark side. Everything has two vibrations. Okay, so I was born in Iran. We have everything. We had Christianity. We believe in Jesus, but as a prophet when I was growing up. But my mom and my dad never forced religion on me. They would let me think freely, which is Zoroastrian, which is actually a way of thinking, a philosophy way before Christianity. Okay. So knowing that, then living in Germany, which is mainly Catholic, then coming to America, which is free. I honestly, as much as I wanted to, I couldn't stick to one religion. Because I was exposed by so many people that had good in them that were from all religions. And I couldn't say that, hey, you were right or you were right. I wanted to believe that all of them are good people. You know? And that, therefore I just believe in the greater being, you know.
And it helped you through your PTSD, through your pressures and depression and stresses.
Yeah, because I was like, you know, it finally was like, I got to a point that, you know, why did this happen? Why am I this Persian kid in this situation? You know, why? You know, it was more of a why question, and you will get answers. You know, and the doors started opening. It's just like you need to sit with yourself And honestly, we're all defined to do something. You know, Anthony, I think you're defined to do what you're doing right now, and I'm defined to at the same time. You're giving me the chance to speak, and I'm giving you the chance to have a
Right.
broadcast.
And more input and knowledge on towards other human beings, really.
But you're also giving me the plateau. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
And I'm learning a lot. I mean, this is
Values,
a learning experience.
you know, yeah, and you know, we just need to
Right.
keep sharing. And the people who and there's no wrong time, there's no wrong moment. Oneness says there's
None.
no wrong moment. That if you find the moment that you're at being wrong, you're in the wrong
Right.
vibration. If you're fearful, if you're feared at that moment, if you're anxious, if you fear any of those things, you're in the wrong vibration. Eliminate yourself from where you're at, walk away, stop listening to what you're listening to, stop looking at what you're looking into, stop eating or drinking what you're looking to. If that feeling inside your gut feels like a fear, feels anxious, you need to eliminate yourself from that surrounding and go meditate.
Perfect.
And calm yourself, and you need to calm yourself down, because what you're feeling is wrong, is not wrong. Let me reword that. What you're feeling is incorrect. It is not the true vibration that you should be feeling. There is blockage in your body that is causing you to feel that vibration of anxiousness. And if you really, one thing that I always use to calm myself down is when I feel anxious, is I imagine myself walking out in the middle of a crazy downtown. I'm looking at everybody around me. And while I'm looking at everybody, I am going to picture, what are those people thinking about? And you know what comes to my mind? They're not thinking about me. They're thinking about
Right.
their lives.
That's true.
They're worried about their lives. There's nothing to be anxious about. There's nothing to be worried
That's
about.
correct.
And we are creating that, we are creating that in our mind. And if we're creating that in our mind, we need to silence our mind. And the more you silence your mind, you make that muscle stronger and stronger. So when that anxiety hits you in the gut in the middle of the day and you're at your workplace, you could close your eyes for 10 seconds and you could remember the feeling of meditation and bring peace back into your life.
Right.
That's just one step. It goes into eating. It goes into exercising. You got to do it all. But if you have the courage, to get rid of these blockages, Anthony, man, the sky is the world for the veterans.
And
we are machines. We are disciplined machines.
So let me ask you a question. Are you connected to any organizations?
Well, right now I'm connected to the Secret Society of Veterans. Of course, but no, I wanted to throw that out there for you. But I am connected to AUSV, which is my sister's organization, Academy of United States Veterans. This is a nonprofit organization started by my sister, who's a veteran of the Army. She was an intelligence specialist in the Army. She taught the SEALs how to speak Farsi in Afghanistan. So she started this company. She started this organization to build the bridge between the veteran organization and unemployment. So she's helping unemployed veterans get jobs by holding these nonprofit organizations who are saying that they're working for veterans. She's holding them accountable for it by holding the 1-year anniversary and giving awards. But now the awards are given to the company that does the most. So like the Oscars, but for the veteran.
Okay, what's the name of that? What's the name of that award? The award
was called the AUSV Academy. AUSV. The website's there. Please go check it out. If you want to get sponsored, is a yearly. We hold it at Washington D.C. Okay, you could get sponsored. There's a nonprofit. There is free tickets if you sign up early. The tickets are honestly, this is a full-out event, from motivational speakers to a full-out dinner to award ceremony to the top organizations, and also many connections. These tickets are sold for $300 a minimum and you can get them sponsored to you if you're a veteran and you contact the AUSV. Asal Ravandi, who's the founder and CEO, and who's my sister. So
you're connected to two organizations about now with Secret Society of Veterans, which we're trying to push to make a better place of focus for our veterans that are coming home and that are here already. We're trying to help them out with advice and some help. I mean, I'm not a clinical specialist or anything to that effect. I'm just a veteran, just like everyone else, that is willing to give more of my time and of my life to be able to better the life for the next veteran. Because I always believe that our oath of service has not ended and won't end until we're buried under our flags.
Exactly. Amen to that, brother.
Thank you so much, Reza, for your input, for your sharing of yourself here at Secret Society of Veterans. We're going to have more of you coming on in later shows and stuff like that, and we'll talk about food intake, exercise, what can keep us focused and motivated throughout our lives and things to that effect.
And Anthony, I want to put that out there. If you're a member of Secret Society of Veterans and you would like to reach out to me, my name is Reza Masomi. I could give you, I give free advices to veterans.
You should give them your information now, your contact information.
Well, through you on Facebook, you can find me.
Okay.
On Instagram, it's Possible Perfection of Self. If you have any questions about nutrition, what do you eat to keep anxiety away? What you could do during the day to panic attacks and anxiety, or anything that you think that I might be able to service to you guys, please reach out. We are making this a non-profit organization, I believe, Anthony. Is that what you're trying to do?
Yes.
Okay, and with that said, I'm here to help out my brothers and sisters, and I'm looking forward to keep speaking to you guys if you like my what I like to talk about, man.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. And this has been another episode of Secret Society of Veterans. And everybody have a great night, great morning, or great afternoon from wherever you're listening from. And thank you for checking in on us at Secret Society of Veterans.
Anthony, thank you for having me, man.
Thank you for being here. Have a blessed night. If you're a veteran, or just anybody that likes to hear good stories, likes to hear things that might guide them through life, why don't you check out the podcast on Anchor called Secret Society of Veterans? Every episode, we have someone new, something new, and things to put out there. We have different groups, different entertainment, and just stuff that might be helpful to you, the veteran. Also, we have a group on Facebook called Secret Society of Veterans. So if you're interested, why don't you come over, check us out, stay a while, and enjoy the information. Thank you very much. This has been a message from Secret Society of Veterans. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Secret Society of Veterans. I thank all the listeners. I thank all the help that I get from the callers and the ones that I interview. I thank you all. Please keep your life safe. Keep the next man and woman's life safe. Let's make this world peaceful. And let's, like Ellen DeGeneres says, let's love one another. Let's give each other hugs. Thank you again for joining us at Secret Society of Veterans. Till the next one.